Hello everyone, so there's been some breaking news and I'm not super prepared for this video, but I thought it was very important that I got this out as soon as possible. So I'm just going to be following the facts that I see posted online. I recently made a video on the DXE case with Wayne Shung and Paul Picklesheimer. They're actually charged with burglary and theft for rescuing sick piglets from a huge factory farm owned by Smithfield in Utah. They were actually acquitted, which was amazing news because it sets the precedent that rescuing animals is not a crime. Unfortunately, we can't say the same for the next case. This case takes place in Canada and it represents a group of activists dubbed the Excelsior 4. I'm going to read out the details of the case. This is an absolute injustice. The Excelsior 4 were charged after exposing criminal activity at Excelsior Hog Farm in Abbotsford, Canada. Animal activists Amy Serrano, Nick Schaefer, Roy Sassano, and Jeff Regia, known as the Excelsior 4, faced 21 indictable offences, the highest criminal level in Canadian court, for revealing what happens to animals inside factory farms. In the spring of 2019, video footage taken from inside Excelsior Hog Farm and released by PETA showed crowded pens full of thousands of pigs suffering from hernias, bloody lacerations, and golf ball-sized growths. Some couldn't even walk, so they languished and slowly died on the filthy concrete floor. Dead pigs were found rotting in pens with other live pigs who were eating their dead bodies, and others had been thrown into garbage bins. Sounds like pretty stock standard stuff that you see on factory farms. I wouldn't say that this is out of the ordinary at all, unfortunately. On April 28th, 2019, the Excelsior 4 and nearly 200 other activists descended onto Excelsior Hog Farm conducting a Meet the Victims action. So a group of activists went inside the farm and they live streamed the cruelty, and what they do is they do a sit-in protest and wait for police to arrive, and part of the activists' requests are that the media come and report on the farm. So they generated a bunch of national media attention because of this.
We start with a CTV News exclusive secret video shot inside an Abbotsford pig farm that supplies animals for the pork industry.
And they arrested 3 of the activists, Amy, Nick, and Roy. Amy was the only activist taken into custody and charged. So what they tend to do is make an example out of the organisers. So they try to deter activists by, okay, who's the organiser? You're coming with us. So a few months later, video footage from a hidden camera was released showing the owners and operators of Excelsior Hog Farm conducting criminal animal cruelty, including electrical prodding in the pig's face, repeatedly hitting and kicking the animals, and cutting off the tails and testicles of screaming piglets with no pain relief. Wait a second, so the activists who exposed the criminal animal cruelty were arrested, and the ones committing the animal cruelty were allowed to go home? What do you think about that? So basically they released this footage and an intensive investigation took place. So you'd believe that they're about to arrest the criminal animal abusers, right? No. As a result of the investigation, 3 of the other activists, Nick, Roy, and Jeff, were also charged. The Excelsior 4 faced a combined 21 indictable offences of break-and-enter and mischief, with each break-and-enter holding the potential of up to 10 years in jail. After pre-trial hearings, Jeff's case was dropped. The remaining 3 of the Excelsior 4 went on trial by jury in the BC Supreme Court and used that opportunity to further expose the rampant violence and suffering in animal agriculture and the complicity of our justice and enforcement systems. As a result, Roy was acquitted, Amy and Nick were convicted. They were convicted, unlike Wayne and Paul, who fought the case in a trial and were acquitted. These activists here weren't so lucky, because it just kind of depends on the case, the judge, and the jurors in the courtroom. Amy Serrano has made a statement on her Instagram here. It says, "Today Nick and I will be sentenced. I take responsibility for my actions while recognising that without actions like these, the animals remain unseen with practically no protection." So they gave this footage to the BCSPA. Who are they? Okay, they're like the RSPCA, but for Canada, I guess. Listen to this. Jeff provided more footage of animal cruelty at Excelsior to the BCSPA, who turned him over to the police in violation of its policy. Am I reading that correctly? British Columbia Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals turned over an activist to the police for exposing animal cruelty? Is that right? What scum, if that is true? I can't believe that, actually. Nothing surprises me. The BCSPA, I don't know who they are. I mean, we could just only guess. They're SPA certified. Yeah, so they do certify animal products. Okay. They've got a farm assurance scheme like they do here in the UK and in Australia. So they're in bed with the meat industry. So, okay, that's clear whose side they're on. It's only okay if the BCSPA go into a farm and find animal cruelty, you know what I mean? It's not okay for whistleblowers to find animal cruelty. The SPCA can call the farm and be like, hey, we're coming down, make sure you clean everything up. Who knows? It probably happens, doesn't it? So they didn't have sufficient evidence to prove they placed hidden cameras in the farm. Placing hidden cameras in the farm where they're torturing animals and you're the criminal. So there's something called ag-gag laws, which is basically prevents whistleblowers from sharing footage or gaining footage on the food industry, the animal abuse industry. Essentially, these ag-gag laws make it a criminal offence to expose criminal animal abusers. How's that? They don't want the public to see what these industries are doing to animals on their behalf. They want the public to see their propaganda campaigns, their humane slaughter campaigns, their humane farm campaigns. But these bills, like Bill 156, prevent the public from seeing the truth. That is criminal in and of itself. Now, who remembers animal rights activist Reagan Russell, who died trying to expose Bill 156? She was at Fearman's Pork Slaughterhouse protesting with Toronto Pig Save, and she was run over and killed by a semi-truck filled with pigs who was actually there to drop pigs off to be killed. And then we've got these 4 activists in Canada facing prison. The Crown failed to disclose large volumes of crucial evidence. The Justice Verhoeven prevented us from showing animal cruelty footage or arguing that Excelsior committed criminal animal abuse. Now, the judge, definitely 100% a meat eater, prevented them from showing animal cruelty footage. Why would you want to do that? That's a very important point in the case. That was their motivation for being there, the criminal animal cruelty. So the judge withholds that footage from the jury to persuade the jury. It's like lying by omission. It's like omitting very key points. However, the Crown's key evidence was my live stream inside Excelsior, which the jury saw. Okay, so they had to show the live stream because otherwise they couldn't convict Amy and Nick. So they showed the live stream, which contained the cruelty. Roy was acquitted by the jury, but found Nick and I guilty of 1 count of break and enter and 1 count of mischief each. So basically, they were convicted of break and enter. I don't know the details of the case, but essentially they walked through a door to film suffering pigs. So just imagine this. You hear children screaming from your neighbour's house, right? And you kick the door in to rescue these screaming children. They're being held hostage, about to be killed, or they're being tortured in there or something. Imagine a world where you got arrested for that. That's exactly what is happening here, because the type of abuse and cruelty that is happening to those pigs is generally legal, and it's illegal for these activists to go on and expose it. There was a time where it was illegal to liberate slaves from the slave trade. In Germany, it was illegal to hide Jews from the Nazis. In current society, it is illegal to, in some places, expose criminal animal cruelty and to liberate pigs from suffering. The latest report I've seen is they've been given 30 days in prison. So they have to serve 30 days and have 12 months probation. They're going to prison. This is actually quite a severe sentence. This is animal agriculture making an example of activists who expose their criminal animal cruelty. That's what this is. Because I know criminals who aren't activists who would have got off lighter, maybe got a suspended sentence. But no, they're going to prison, so they would have left. As far as I know, when you get sentenced, you go straight from the court, straight to prison. So when I got sentenced, now listen to this. I was a gang member, I was on drugs, I was carrying a loaded firearm. I had a bunch of weapons in my hotel room, I was unhinged and a gang member. People know about my past, I've been open about my past, okay? Turn my life around now. But I went to prison for carrying a loaded gun. Now, I had 3 assault charges before that. 3. Where I got suspended sentences, so I didn't walk through those prison gates because of assault. And I got a suspended sentence for that, meaning like they convict you, they suspend your sentence, they let you go. If you mess up again, they'll put you in prison. They didn't get a suspended sentence. They have to serve a month in prison. So what they do is they take you straight from the courthouse, they strip you down, take all of your property from you, and they put you in with murderers, armed robbers, drug dealers, violent criminals, and everyone else. So it's quite a scary experience. Now, these activists are going to prison, but the ones who are committing the criminal animal cruelty and violence, they're not going to prison. What they have is their justice. Putting people in prison who exposed their cruelty, so they win, basically. And these activists are going to prison for doing the right thing. If that angers you, if that makes you upset, then please go onto the Excelsior 4 website. You can sign, they've got a petition here, to the BCSPA, charge the animal abusers at Excelsior Hog Farm. So they're trying to get to 50,000 signatures. Imagine a world where you have to get a petition to pressure the Society for the Protection of Cruelty to Animals to charge animal abusers. You can also go and share the videos that they got from this hog farm. So they've got plenty of footage, share it far and wide, expose this hog farm further. You can also donate to help them with their court fees and to help support Amy and Nick, who are in prison, and any of the campaigns they have coming up. I'm sure this won't be the end of their campaigning, but this is incredibly sad. It's incredibly scary to go to prison. Even me, when I was a gang member and I was protected as a gang member in prison, it's still, it's not a fun experience, and I don't wish it on any activist. It's just incredibly sad and frustrating because it was such a celebration when Wayne and Paul were acquitted, and that sets a precedent for the right to rescue in the future. But here in Canada, they've gone completely the other way. What was the difference? What was the difference here? Look at these pigs being bludgeoned and chucked in bins and left to suffer in these horrible hellholes. Look at what these scumbags did to those pigs. Look at what they're doing to them. These poor individuals suffering in hell, in darkness, in blood, in feces, suffering all around them, stuck, imprisoned in bars. These activists expose it, let the public know. They're blowing the whistle on these animal abusers. Now, these activists have to spend 30 days in bars, no liberty, eating prison food with gang members and violent criminals. Me, as a drug-fueled violent gang member, sitting in prison, I'd be sitting next to Nick, who exposed animal cruelty. What a absolute upside-down mess. If I got any of the facts in this case a little wrong, it's because I really just reacted to this and wanted to get this video out as soon as I could. Please help support. Go to this Excelsior 4 page. I'm sure there's plenty of contacts here. There's a contact here you can contact to help. If you're in Canada and you want to help, if you want to do any protests, please join their protest and kick up a big stink about this. This is absolute pure injustice. We need more activists. If you're a vegan watching this, please get active. If you're not vegan, look at what the industry are doing. They're leveraging the legal system to keep you in the dark. So you're giving your money to these animal abusers and they're putting anyone in prison who exposes them. Don't give them your money. Live vegan, and vegans, please join the movement. We need more activists. Peace.